So the second phase of this framework is the distribute phase. And the distribute phase is essentially how an adversary is going to not only create the payload that they're going to use to try to compromise one of your endpoints, but also what is the delivery vehicle that they're going to use to get it to you or distribute it to you. And when we look at the payloads that are being used for these advanced persistent threats or targeted threats, what we see is they're often custom-made pieces of software with actually a very high degree of quality control and testing involved. It's not your typical run-of-the-mill sort of malware or virus. This is sort of boutique software that's created specifically to target you as an organization, or even target an individual machine or system in your organization. Once this payload is created, essentially what happens is it's often what is called weaponized. So the actual executable or binary, the payload itself is incorporated into other file types to make it easier to deliver, easier to execute on your system. Things that we see, common examples of this are that often that shell code is injected into PDF files or Word docs or Excel spreadsheets, and it essentially makes that payload that's being delivered to your systems a little easier to deliver and make it easier for an end user or to dupe an end user into opening it. So once a payload's created and maybe it's weaponized or not in some other sort of file type, there has to be a decision made on how it's actually going to be delivered to your end user, your endpoint, to you as an entity. And often what we see is sort of typical suspects or vectors for this. It could be an email. It could be a spear-phishing email, or that's sort of socially engineered to take advantage of one of those trust relationships that was discovered. Could just be a malicious web page, sort of drive-by malware with some clickjacking involved. And what we've also seen is actually delivery of payloads via USB drives. And this is sort of interesting because it's really sort of a physical, non-technical way of delivering a payload, but it's really effective at circumventing a lot of the technical controls in place and really getting around the idea that, or really showing that the idea that is we don't really have centralized, well-defined perimeters anymore. Anyone can basically walk in with a USB key and deliver it. But essentially, the distribute phase is all about what is the payload that's being created and how is it actually going to be delivered to you from point A to point B from the attacker.